4 o'clock yet? We give wait for a few more people to. You know what I would really like? Can you? This seems so low. I don't know if this is. Okay. What I would really like if you guys in the back would like fill in, because I'm gonna like be giving stuff away. And we're all friends, right? We all like horror movies. Teeny tiny little pictures of horror movies. We have 3 weeks from today, from this very day, we open October 1st for our longest season ever. Right down the street at the Rose Quarter. FrightTown. Who's from Oregon? Most of you, wonderful. Who's been to FrightTown? Who? Okay, leave your hands up. Okay, everybody who enjoyed it, put your hands down. Get out. You can stay. I mean, in just a few short weeks, we're going to open up, and you guys, I'm going to give you guys all a tip. I'm going to give you all a tip that nobody finds out. It's on the website. Nobody ever reads it. We are open on Wednesdays. You know who doesn't come on Wednesdays? Anybody. Right. Okay. You know what happens on Saturdays? People come to me and they say, is there anything you can do about these lines? And you know what I tell them? I can be open on Wednesday. So you guys are in now. You're probably like Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. You're like, oh, Baron Bagulo told me to not be a sucker and wait in a 4-hour-long line and get all angry and take it out on him when I can come on Wednesday and own the place. So, that would be my recommendation. My tip to you. All right. Welcome to Horror Movies and You, boys and girls. There's so many of you. That's great. Who likes horror movies? Woohoo! Yay! Everybody. The correct answer was everybody, because horror movies are fantastic. And we have a wonderful panel of horror experts, and I do not throw that term around lightly. Here today, we have over on the far side, we have Willie Greer, composer for Lovecraftian movies like Cthulhu and Pickman's Muse. He is also the author. If you guys are deep into the horror thing, you perhaps have read Shadow Play, Philosophy and Psychology of the Modern Horror Film. He wrote that. And he's yes! Totally deserving of applause. He's also currently writing Spicoli versus Jason, Gen Exploitation. I am looking forward to reading myself. And he's also the former host of the sorely missed Horror Holocaust radio show, and soon to be a host of the upcoming Film Cult podcast. So Willie Greer is here. Next to Willie is Trista Perez, who is also known as the Video Vixen. She has a website at videovixen.com where she reviews cult and psychotronic films pre-1990s, which is definitely a niche, and there's some groovy business going on in there. And her reviews can also be heard on Fusebox, which is, let me see, Fusebox Show. Is that right? Do I got that right, Tristan? Awesome. Fuseboxshow.com. I, being old and terribly white, have no idea what's going on the internet, but I understand that that is fine. Yeah. And then our right to my left here, birthed by a jackal in a Tijuana brothel, Mr. Jeff Dean is a co-host on the giant monster podcast, Kaiju Cast, which some of you might have been in the panel a little bit earlier today with us. He was also a co-host on Horror Holocaust Radio, and is author of the Gospel of Gore column for Living Dead magazine, which is pretty groovy. And I, of course, Baron Bongulo, Tiger Beat cover model and frontman for FrightTown, which is the largest and most popular haunted attraction in Oregon, opening for its 12th season on October 1st, 3 short weeks from today. So, we're very happy to talk to you. Thank you. We're very happy to be here today to talk to you about one of our favorite subjects in the entire universe, which are horror movies. And just briefly, very briefly, I do not want to waste your guys' time, because you want to know what to pack your Netflix queue with, right? We want to get into the details. Okay, but very briefly, we want to talk about what makes horror movies not just wonderful but resonant. Why are horror movies still such fodder for the masses all the way back from, what's the first horror movie? It wasn't Nosferatu, it was pretty good.
Well, there's Frankenstein,
the Rumpel Peter, yeah. Like, what year was that?
1910.
Okay, 1910. More than a century of cinema. All right. I'm sure you've heard the phrase "art imitates life," and there's nothing really. That is an absolute truth. And sometimes life, as we see on the news, is horrible. People need a way to be able to work through those feelings, through those theses into some sort of synthesis that they can deal with, on a regular basis. And when we feel that we're out of control, which if a lot of you, all like me, watch the news too much, you might feel that way a lot. Whether it's control of your own situation, out of your body, of your faith, that is when you feel fear. And when you think about it, loss of control is the theme, the underscore of every really truly successful and resonant horror movie. It's all about loss of control, whether it's about you're out of control because some maniac is chasing you and killing all of your friends, or because some doctor just sewed your mouth to another guy's butt, or to anything. It's all about loss of control. In their best form, horror movies exaggerate our reality so that they can offer us the perspective that allows us to cope. I'm getting lofty here. I'm going to stop in a little while, trust me. But to paraphrase Willie from his book, horror movies offer us a chance to safely explore and understand the shadow side of our personal and cultural consciousness, not just as individuals, but as a group. And these are the reptilian instincts that have served us well in more primitive times. At the same time, I think this is important, they do teach us about the negative consequences of violence, allowing us to adapt, to develop empathy, and evolve as people. I think it's a wonderful notion, and it makes, it's like, who would think you're watching Freddy versus Jason, and you're actually growing as a person. This is a great thing. And we do this all from the comforting distance of our couch or a theater seat. So very much like a roller coaster, you get that rush, you face that dragon, and you get to go home safely. And so that's what makes them fun. That's what makes them wonderful. And that's why we're all here today to talk about some of our favorite horror movies of ever. I guess we're just going to start jumping into horror movies. We have all made a number of selections of movies that we're going to guess you guys haven't seen. And we're going to talk about them. We're going to give you a little spiel. We're going to tell you a little bit about them. We're going to show you a little clip. And hopefully, if you like, between the four of us, I think we've got a very broad range of interests and the kind of movies that we like. And I hope that you. Who wants to go first? Yeah, we're going to let Jeff go first. Jeff goes first.
All right. The first film I want to talk about is a new film from this year, actually, called Hush, directed by Mike Flanagan. It's a smart, tight little thriller, very similar to the 1967 Audrey Hepburn film, Wait Until Dark. The story is basically a deaf woman goes to her house in the woods to finish her novel, finish writing the last chapter of her novel, and basically she is stalked by a serial killer. And she's stuck there by herself without her phone, and it's just extremely well done. And the thing I really like about this film is it has a brisk running time of about 80-85 minutes, and there's really only about 10 minutes of dialogue in the whole film. It's pretty solid. I think we have a trailer we are going to play right now. And the nice thing about this film too is it is right now on Netflix, and that's where it debuted.
Trailer from Hush. I've seen that one. That's wonderful, Jeff.
Yeah, good stuff. This is Mike Flanagan. I'm a huge fan of this guy. His debut feature, Absentia, which I think might still be streaming on Netflix.
I believe that is correct.
It's a great example of micro-budget, very, very minimal, very, very effective horror filmmaking. And then Oculus, not half bad at all. He's, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but he's been in talks about doing the new Halloween movie, and I would be very happy if that happened.
Right on. Tristan, have you seen this one?
Can you hear me? No, I have not seen
Okay, you and me.
because,
We're going to go watch this movie tonight.
I'm stuck in the 90s.
Oh, right. I forgot.
How many people here have seen Hush?
Oh, quite a few.
So there's quite a few
okay.
people.
So
So
we
you
like
recommend-
Touch, yes? What, yes? Okay, kind of. Maybe, all right. Maybe I won't watch it tonight. I don't know. I like that trailer. Willie, do you want to take one? You want to jump in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right on.
I'm going to go ahead and talk about Triangle from 2009.
Oh, so good.
Written and directed by Christopher Smith. I've gushed about this one at more than one panel. It's probably my favorite puzzle movie, maybe alongside Mulholland Drive, and it's very hard to talk about because I don't want to spoil too much, but you kind of have to spoil a little bit. I would just say that it's maybe a nice twisted hybrid of Groundhog Day and Memento. And in terms of the puzzle, it plays completely fair with its audience. It takes a few times to kind of get what's happening, but it's totally worth it. I think the twist is brilliant. The mechanism, the whole loop setup that this movie takes place with. It's so cool and so clever that it actually literally functions as a sequel to itself. You can watch it again immediately afterwards and see a different movie.
I think we have a clip.
Oh, goody.
Trailer? There. Yeah, I was on another panel with Willie a couple of years ago, and he introduced me to the movie Triangle, and it's literally been one of my favorite movies ever since. It's outstanding.
Christopher Smith is
Christopher Smith gives away absolutely nothing. That is not even the tip of the iceberg, trust me on that.
Yeah, it's really best to go into this movie, without knowing anything about it. So that's why we're trying not to spoil what the plot is.
In terms of like subtext and theme, it does explore the myth of Sisyphus pretty effectively, if you know your mythology, and also some nice kind of themes about what it's like being the parent of an autistic child and having to deal with repetitive behavior in a way that can just about drive you crazy.
Wow.
And is it still on Netflix?
I am not sure.
But you can,
It's readily accessible.
yes.
I think it's Tristan's turn.
All right, well, I'm going to start with Psychomania. It's from 1973, directed by Don Sharp. I ran across this movie when I was in high school. I actually just bought it randomly because I liked the cover. It's a British movie. It's a dark comedy horror hybrid. It's a lot of fun. There's a biker gang called the Living Dead. They decide they're going to live forever by killing themselves. And hilarious.
What?
Don't try to use logic with this movie. It's not.
Do not try this at home.
If you are a fan of Harold and Maude and you like the suicide scenes in that movie, you will love this movie because the suicide scenes of the biker gang killing themselves, they're all hysterical. Don Sharp, he was a horror director for Hammer, and he directed 6 Christopher Lee movies. I'm not sure how he went from doing that to doing this. There's a vast difference in aesthetics and everything that's going on in this film, but I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites. I still have it on VHS, and I still, pull it out and watch it every once in a while.
And we have a trailer, I understand?
I think we do.
All right. I have not seen this one. I want to see a trailer for Psychomania. So good, guys.
Okay, next year's con, I totally know what I'm going to be cosplaying as.
Yeah, no, yeah. Everybody's like, that's the worst Ghost Rider costume ever. Shut up. Okay, well, I'll get my turn, yay. But you know, before I do that, we also have a little aside. We're going to give away some free passes to FrightTown, courtesy of the Northwest Horror Pub Quiz, which you guys may or may not be those horror fans among you. It's every other Tuesday night at Home, a bar on, is it Belmont or Morrison? Morrison. On Morrison, right here in Southeast. And as a matter of fact, it's this Tuesday night. If you like going down, burgers there are great, and it's a real interesting trivia night. And we've got a pair. You guys watch, you see who puts up their hand first. And we'll see who wins. We've got a trivia question here from Northwest Horror Pub Quiz. And, oh, here we go. What 1978 horror film was originally titled The Babysitter Murders? Oh, in the back. I think it was in the back. Was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Come on, get your tickets. See, this is why I want you guys to move up.
We have flyers
there
too,
you
if
go.
anybody's interested in the pub quiz. You can win lots of cool prizes and stuff, and usually form into teams of like 3 or 4 people. But there's flyers if you want to know anything.
So we'll do that a couple more times throughout the little thing here. And okay, so my turn. I'm going to go with, you know, since we started with Christopher Smith, since Willie brought up Triangle, I'm going to do my Christopher Smith pick, which is Creep from 2004. Oh, have you guys know? How many of you guys have seen Creep? If you've all seen Creep, I can do something else. You guys want to know about Creep? All right, we're going to talk about Creep. This is 2004 Creep, so not to be confused with the found footage, what is it, 2014? Yeah, 2014 Creep, which is, that's got one of the worst horror movie endings in history. It's awful. But Creep 2004 is magnificent. It is directed, as I said, by Christopher Smith, who did Triangle and Black Death and Severance. And it stars Franca Potente from Run Lola Run. I don't know if you remember her. And it is again the kind of the loss of control thing we were talking about. Franca Potente is at a party. She stays too late. She gets stranded in the London subways. After hours, things start shutting down around her. She's secluded, and lo and behold, mutant inbred lab experiment killer thing lives in the London subways too, and hijinks ensue. So we have a clip from Creep 2004 by Christopher Smith, and let's take a look at that. And it really does take the cliched trope of the damsel in distress being chased by the knife-wielding maniac and dresses it up in an interesting story, excellent direction, and good acting. Frank Potente can act. And I would recommend this to just about anybody.
Great location, too.
Great location. Great, completely secluded, terrifying.
Alrighty, my next movie is going to be a little crackerjack of a film from 2012, I Saw the Devil from South Korea. One of my favorite movies of the 21st century. Basically the plot is a detective's wife is murdered by a serial killer. He takes a leave of absence, hunts the killer down, beats him to an inch of his life, plants a tracking device in him, and basically just follows this serial killer around until he's about to strike and keeps repeating the same thing over again, just beating this guy literally to death. And of course, you know, things don't go as planned with his plan, and that's when the real horror kind of starts to kick in. We have a little something to show you from the film.
Not a first date movie. Not a first movie. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Depends on your day.
I mean, this movie's kind of like getting kicked in the gut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you feel kind of exhausted after.
I remember being
watching.
stunned by its savagery when I watched watched it.
Yeah, the South Koreans know how to make some good, savage, intense kind of revenge thrillers. And I know, sometimes this comes up about this is not really a horror movie. I kind of think it falls into that same kind of a subgenre as like films like Silence of the Lambs or Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or Deliverance.
Definitely.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
right up there.
Wow. That is a hard one.
Great ending too.
Yeah, but good stuff. I hope you guys are into the bloody stuff. I hope you're like, I hope nobody here came from, oh, I want to talk about how they're making the Hocus Pocus sequel. That's not what we're doing here.
Was that directed by Old Boy, the director of Old Boy?
It
or?
wasn't.
It's not the same director.
I thought
It has the actor.
Oh, the actor, got
same
it.
actor.
That's another great movie.
Yeah, also fairly savage. Okay,
I
groovy.
ventured out of the 90s and earlier to watch Old Boy.
Old Boy.
Oh, sure.
The original. They did a remake.
Yeah, Spike Lee did a remake.
Right. I did not see the. Willie, do you want to jump in?
Sure, yeah. I think out of the four of us, I picked probably the most popular movies, which is a little weird for me. But
Very.
these are ones that I think were very significant and game-changing, either to the genre or to me personally. But this one, Session 9 from 2001, by Brad Anderson. This and 28 Days Later, for me, they were the first digitally shot movies that felt like real movies to me. They have a very cinematic quality. This has the most amazing cinematography. Uda Breiswitz, I think, is the DP. And again, location. The Danvers State Mental Hospital. Jesus Christ, what a location. It's kind of a style mood piece like The Shining or The Fog, but plot-wise, it's a little more like The Thing. It's a group of men under a lot of pressure with suits that you can't really tell who they are. Doing a job in a desolate environment, and one of them may not be who they appear to be. The asylum may be haunted. They're asbestos workers. They're doing asbestos removal for this building. And the place may be haunted. One of them may be going insane. Maybe all of the above. But just incredible. Incredible photography, great performances. The score by the Seattle noise band Climax Golden Twins is one of the coolest of the 2000s. Love it, absolutely love it.
How many people here have not seen Session 9? Oh, most of you. Wonderful. Okay, Willie has just given you a treat. Standing, we'll get into this with a couple of my other films. Huge fan of sort of horror ensemble situations where there is a group of actors, each with each character. And then when I say a horror ensemble, I don't mean 8 kids who are waiting to be hacked up by a guy with a machete. It's like that is not. I mean, like each character has their own personality and is interesting, or funny, or and otherwise driving the plot forward. Session 9 is one of those, and it's just a magnificent movie.
But nothing against the ensembles of kids who are just waiting to be hacked up.
Yeah. That is true. Trista, let's get to your next one.
Well, the next movie I'd like to talk about is The Godsend. It's from 1980, directed by Gabrielle Beaumont. This, I actually read the book first, and I found out it was a movie, so I immediately had to go and check it out because I really enjoyed the book. It's another UK horror film. It's from Canon Films, so it's bound to be crazy. It's going to be good. It's going to be a exciting ride. Angela Pleasance is in this movie, and she's the daughter of Donald Pleasance. She is scarier in this movie than anything he's ever done. I mean, she beats him on the creepy meter for sure. There's an incredibly naive family out in the meadow having a picnic, and they run across this pregnant woman who they bring back to their home. She gives birth and bones out. She just takes off, leaves the baby. They decide, as you would do, to keep the baby, and the child just systematically destroys the family. It's like, I would say, the bad seed on steroids. It's a bit quieter. There's not a lot of shock moments. It's just kind of weird to see this beautiful little golden-haired girl just mow through this family. The director, Gabrielle Beaumont, directed a lot of TV episodes. Star Trek The Next Generation, she did Miami Vice, Hill Street Blues, but if you want to see something that she directed that's a little bit more, what I would say in my realm, you should check out Beastmaster 3.
Like you do.
We also have to give Angela Pleasance props for pretty much being the reason that Donald Pleasance did Halloween. She talked him into it.
Oh, nice.
Good on her.
Because she liked the Salt and Precinct.
And I just lost the bet that nobody was going to recommend Beastmaster 3 today. What do you do? That looks awesome!
Wow.
That looks fantastic. I am going to go in a completely different direction that we've been going with some of these movies. How many of you guys have seen, I don't want to bore you with movies you've already seen, 2014 movie The Voices? Oh, good! Okay, all right. 2014 The Voices, directed by, and I'm going to destroy her name, Marjani Satrapi, the Iranian director who directed Persepolis, the animated movie. Stars Ryan Reynolds. Wait. Okay. So Anna Kendrick and Gemma Arterton from Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunter, or whatever that movie is, like Byzantium. Have you guys seen Byzantium? Probably should have Byzantium on the list too. But anyway, so straight up, it is a serial killer movie. The only way that I can describe it, it's as if John Waters remade Psycho. Stylish, funny, bizarre, well acted, wonderful. It is on Netflix. Voices.